Okay, everyone, we are going to call this council meeting to order. Before we get to our normal business tonight, we're going to yield the floor to Mayor Synan and Representative Cooper, who are here to present an award to Judge Emeritus Conway, who's here tonight, and we'll take it from there.
I'm going to yield to Jill to read the proclamation she prepared for the Honorable Charlie.
I don't need a mic or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
That one, yeah.
Good evening and Happy New Year. This is one of the favorite things I get to do as a state representative, and that is to award citations to people who are deserving. I just want to take a minute to talk about the citation. It's not something that the state gives out lightly. There are requirements in order to qualify for one, and when a citation is given, it's recorded in the state capitol for generations to come, Your Honors, to see and say he did receive a citation from the House of Representatives. I've known Charlie, as I like to call him, Judge Conway, for a number of years since I moved here, and he has high integrity. He served with passion, and I would like to say compassion, right? You know, for our folks and the people who've come before him. He's a caring judge and a fair judge, and so I'm delighted to honor him tonight, and I am going to read the citation to you. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the House of Representatives, citation. Whereas, do you want to come on up, Charlie? I should have invited you up since I'm talking about you. I'm sorry. So I'll start over again. Whereas the House of Representatives of Pennsylvania is always proud to acknowledge those individuals who, through professional excellence, bring great credit to themselves in this Commonwealth, and whereas the Honorable Charlie R. Conway III, Magisterial District Judge for the Magisterial District 10-3-2 in the 10th Judicial District, Westmoreland County, is being honored upon his January 2nd, 2024 retirement after 24 years of distinguished service. And whereas a 1973 graduate of the University of Notre Dame, Conway earned a Juris Doctorate degree from the University of Pittsburgh School of Law in 1979. A practicing attorney for 45 years, he currently specializes in estate planning and administration at Creenan and Baskowski's PC, where he has worked since April 2018. Judge Conway was sworn in as the Magisterial District Judge of Magisterial District 10-3-02 on January 2nd, 2000, and has served the communities of Murraysville, Export, and Delmont with dedication and integrity. Active in his community, he is a member of the Pennsylvania and Westmoreland County Bar Associations, the Pennsylvania Trial Lawyers Association, the Westmoreland County District Judges Association, and the Special Court Judges Association of Pennsylvania, where he served as the president of District 7. A founding member of the Murraysville Kiwanis Club, Judge Conway has been the Franklin Regional Public Address Announcer and the Secretary of Community Inc. for many years. Now, therefore, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates the Honorable Charles R. Conway III upon his well-deserved retirement, heartily recognizes his exemplary record of service in keeping with the highest ideals and traditions of this Commonwealth, offers best wishes for a happy and fulfilling future, and directs that a copy of this citation, sponsored by the Honorable Jill Cooper, on this date be transmitted to the Honorable Charles R. Conway III. Congratulations, Judge. Would you like to say a few words?
Give me the mic. May it please the council. I really appreciate this, Jill. It's an act of the General Assembly that will go on the books, and no one will read it, but I'll have it. And I was thinking about and thanked me, and it's sort of overwhelming and humbling. But I do think that, as Miss Bailey said upon her retirement, or she actually didn't retire from Creenan and Biskowski, but as she said, when I think it was at the 60th anniversary of her practice, where there were 3 people honored, and she pointed out to the 2 men with her that she was the only one still practicing. But she said, I have not done one great thing in my life, and I reading this, I guess I have to put in there that I was the Franklin Regional public address announcer. I have not done one great thing in life, but I've done many small things for many people, and they appreciate it, and I appreciate their appreciation. And that's truly the way I feel, and I thank Ms. Cooper and the General Assembly, and it's for being here tonight with the leak in the ceiling of that beautiful room. She was able to be here, and I appreciate this, and I appreciate the time that council's given me and the mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Special thanks to Representative Cooper and Judge Conway for your 24 years as judge. Wow, thank you. That brings us to our regular meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Stepanovich,
Here.
Mr. Dice,
Here.
Mr. Diakopoulos,
Here.
Mrs. Ling,
Present.
Mr. Olszewski,
Here.
Mr. McKenna,
Here.
Mr. Lemak.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mr. Nestico, do we have any unlisted amendments this evening?
There are no unlisted amendments. However, I would ask council to have a brief executive session following this evening's council meeting.
Okay. That brings us to our consent calendar items. Any questions or concerns about the consent calendar items? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve consent calendar items A, B, and C.
Second.
Thank you, Jamie and Mac. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimous. Thank you, everyone. That brings us to comments by Mayor Simon.
Thanks, Mr. Dice. We just have a few this evening. First is the Rock Talks with Eric Sellinger. 2 special presentations. Have a Drink on Me, The Science and Songs of Alcohol. Date, Thursday, January 18th, time 6:30 p.m. Location, Devout Brewing. Fee is free. Enjoy one of Devout's many craft beers during this program. You can register at www.murraysvillelibrary.org, and if you have any questions, call here at the 327-2100 number, and they'll be able to help you out. Next is the ARP Tax Prep Services. Appointments required in advance. Call 724-374-8176. If no answer, leave a message. There's no walk-up service at all. It's Murraysville Community Center. The dates are February 9th, February 23rd, March 15th, March 22nd, and April the 5th. Next, we have the Winter Wonder Labs. It's the STEM Winter Program. The registration is now open for grades K to 5. The date is Monday, January 15th. Time 9 a.m. to noon. Location's the Murraysville Community Center. The instructor is the Mad Science instructor. There's a fee of $45, but there's a 10% discount for multifamily registration. One other little note and, on top of all that is remember for you people up around my age that it's winter time. You go outside, you fall in the driveway or whatever, you get a Ride Medic 1, and then you get rehab and all that good stuff. So if you don't have to go out, stay in till the roads are better or a nicer day. That concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. That brings us to comments by the Chief Administrator.
Just a few comments for this evening. Many folks in the community are aware the Duff Park Pavilion was damaged by a fallen tree. We're working to get the repair done. That will be done probably in the early spring. We have the insurance company out looking at the damage now. The Public Works Administrative Assistant position that we advertised a couple months ago, we're getting closer to starting interviews for that position, so we're sifting through the applications now and trying to boil that down to conduct interviews. And then lastly, the police accreditation process just completed. Everything went very well, and our department will again be an accredited police department for the next several years. So it's a big milestone for the police department as well to continue that trend. So that's all for this evening.
Awesome. No, that's amazing to hear about the police department. For anyone that doesn't know, that's a huge thing. Not many departments have that. So with that being said, that brings us to community input. Okay, Mr. Wolf.
Name is Ronald Wolf. I live at 3644 Forbes Trail Drive. This is getting to be a regular appearance for me now. Pretty soon everybody's going to know where I live and what I do. One of the things when I came to Murraysville, I had problems with storage. And I complained to FITSMA forever and ever, and finally talked to, I forgot his name. What's your name?
Mr. Morrison.
Jim Morrison, about the board, and we had the board replaced. The new board that's in here sent out a letter, probably every resident here, about raising the rates. One of the things that I was concerned about was Haymaker Run sewer line, which in the 90s was declared unfit for use. The first accomplishment that the new board did was fired the engineering firm that said that and brought in their own engineering firm. Now, I went to them in another meeting, talked to them about the Haymaker Run line, that they promised me when they came in that they were going to replace this line. Now, it's not even on here, no mention, and at the meeting I was at, they told me they're not doing anything with that except maybe lining it. How can you line a sewer line that's been falling in, caving in, broken for almost 40 years now and tell me that that's going to function? I had to sue them over what do I want to call it now? The pump in my yard, the sewage pump. The pump that's in my yard can service 10 homes. Why do I need a pump that large? And why are they specifying a pump for everybody else that wants to put a pump in that large? There got to be something wrong with this sewer system that's major. And on January 9th and 10th, we had another spill at Heather Highlands and Heather Drive. It happens every time there's a lot of rain. It's unacceptable because this sewage is going into the storm drain and straight into the creek, out back. So what I want to know is what happened to the number one priority of the engineering study from the 90s that they said they were going to replace, and will it ever be replaced? That's about it, what I have. And the other thing I want to know is how many other lawsuits are out there against FITSMA that nobody knows about. There was a councilwoman here, I don't know if she's still here or not, but her husband was suing them also. So there's something wrong big time, and it needs to be looked into by council. Okay. I'm going to give this to you, Mr.
Yeah.
With the remarks that I put on it.
Thank you. Now, one of the things we had talked about before was having FTMSA up here to give a general update to council about what they've been doing. The the status of Haymaker Run and possibly answering some of Mr. Wolf's concerns. So I think the gentlemen at FTMSA were actually eager to come up here and do that. So I'll reach out to them and just get that one of our upcoming agendas, hopefully sometime in February, and just at least get some answers, some clarity for council and Mr. Wolf. Again, if you have a lawsuit, I don't want to get too involved, but at the same time, I want to make sure they're finding some way to help you. So I'll keep doing what I can. Thank you. With that being said, no one else signed up, but would anybody else like to give comment tonight? Okay. Seeing no one else, we will proceed with liaison comments and committee reports. Let's start with Jason.
The library meets this Thursday evening.
There was a meeting 2 Mondays ago of the Murraysville Foundation, Parks and Recreation Foundation. During that meeting, there was a discussion about drafting a marketing handout to let prospective members of, new members to the board what we do. The signage for Keller Reserve has been completed and it looks good. There is a discussion, and it looks like it will be something that will go forward, is a natural playground, meaning made out of timbers, and by say timbers, natural timbers, stumps, logs, etc., and so forth, at Murraysville Community Park. A couple of benefits there. One, it should be very inexpensive, and secondly, it's natural, which is a real plus. There was also a discussion of a means at events where the foundation will have a tent. One of the things we'd like to do is also make it aware to the community the differences between what the municipality is responsible for, what the Parks and Recreation Committee is about, and what the Parks and Recreation Foundation is about. I would say this, is that the committee decides what's to be done, and the foundation, basically, their goal is to get the funds to have it done. That's it.
I'll give a quick update for the Murraysville Parks and Recreation, because some of it is stuff that Carl was talking about. So we met last Tuesday. The Public Works update is, they're in the process of painting all the picnic tables and doing trimming and stuff at the parks. So we appreciate their hard work for getting that together. Recreation report. There were actually 4 programs this week. 2 had already happened. The Mad Science STEM at the Community Center and the Hot Chocolate Hike at Pleasant Valley Park. The native plant class is January 16th at the library at 6:30. Walk-ins are welcome for that. In collaboration with the Murraysville Library and Devout Brewing, they'll conduct 2 presentations, Rock Talks, as the mayor had said, on January 18th, and then February 6th, Where Credit is Overdue, it's called, recognizing the contributions of black artists to the history of rock music. We're still waiting on updates. There really were no updates on the amphitheater at this point yet. We had the natural playground. That is something that they've really been working hard at. We're working with the foundation, the Parks and Recreation Department, and the foundation, as Carl said, is getting a tent so that at all these events they can set up to let people know what the foundation is. Kind of the Parks and Recreation Committee sort of guide what's happening in the Parks and Recreation, and the foundation is kind of the funding arm to that can make some of those things happen that people want. Some of the things we're looking at, obviously the natural playground's one of them. The other big thing is we're looking at just putting amenities in some of the parks. Maybe the big concrete soccer balls, baseballs by the fields, where people can gather and take pictures and whatnot for it. So that's one of the thoughts, maybe some of the concrete chessboards, things like that. So that's what they're going to work with the foundation on. In regards to some of the parks, the Townsend and the Kelman Skeena Reserve, They're completing the projects there. They're going to be working on clearing out so that the trails are, some of those trails are very inaccessible at this point. So that's one of the big things we're working at. Elections happened for the commission. Dave Metzger will remain as president. Master Mike Caruso, Grandmaster Mike Caruso will remain as vice president, and Celine Kendala will remain as secretary. The Kelman Reserve, the trails there, we've been working with the scouts, and all of the signs, the posts have been put in, and Scott Kelsey from Signs of Excellence, who's on the Parks and Recreation Commission, brought the actual signs, so they're putting those up here in the next few weeks. So what we're hoping to do is all of our parks will have uniform signs for all the trails within the parks. So that's kind of our goal. So right now, Townsend has been done, Kelman has been done, and we're identifying the next one to go to. And it's something that's not expensive, but it'll be nice because it'll be uniform everywhere for all the parks. You'll see the same type of stuff. And I think that's it. I just want to thank Bill's crew, Public Works, with the snow and stuff. They've done a great job too. So appreciate everything they do. That's it.
Absolutely. Jamie?
School board meets on January 22nd.
Okay, awesome. And I still have to send an email out about committee and committee assignments. I might do that tonight just to get out of the way. But, okay, with that, we'll get into our workshop items this evening. Michael, do you want to kick us off with this Caliber Collision development?
Sure. Mr. Morrison is here for discussion of the land development application for Caliber Collision, which is at 6037 William Penn Highway on Route 22. I think Jim will open discussion on the item.
The applicant's here tonight, Mr. President. Also present Caliber Collisions proposing construction of an auto body repair garage on approximately 6.8 acres of B-zone property on Route 22. There's really two applications. One's for the land development and the other's for the subdivision of the property. The Planning Commission entertained it over the last 2 or 3 meetings. They recommended approval on both the land development and subdivision. So the applicant can do the details.
Okay, great.
Is there a clicker for the?
No.
There,
Yeah, they're looking to build a new one there.
you know what? I can go grab it for you. No, that's no problem. He'll grab the clicker and then we'll grab it for you.
Michael?
Yes.
Excuse me. With respect to Caliber Collision, did you receive the email that I sent?
I did, and I don't know that that's something that we should have discussion about at this time, but we can certainly address that, potentially in executive session relating to legal matters. I think for purposes of the discussion tonight, I don't know that that's something that needs to be sorted through right now because there isn't a vote on the table.
I agree with that, Carl. So we can talk about that tonight in our executive session.
Okay.
On the same page. Yep. Okay.
Right away here.
All right, perfect.
There you go.
All right. Good evening. My name is address and everything, right? My name is Melanie Bagley. Business address is 2911 Turtle Creek Boulevard in Dallas, Texas. I'm here tonight on behalf of Victory Development. Victory Development is a boutique, and in boutique we mean small, development company out of Dallas, Texas. We work with Caliber Collision Corporate to develop sites across the country. And tonight I present to you this location that we have really worked with Jim on since almost this time last year when we approached him about the project and had commenced our due diligence, investigating the site conditions, all the feasibility studies, et cetera, pre-applications with Jim, and getting to know the standards for the municipality and how we could adhere to that criteria so that when we came to Planning Commission, we presented a project that met the intent of the ordinances and the standards for the municipality. Jim was very clear up front that the municipality has a very high caliber of standards. He referred us to several new buildings in the community that we should look to as a reference. and we did that. What we present to you tonight is the result of many conversations, again, with Jim and multiple planning commission meetings where we listened to what the community wanted and also took to heart what some of the neighbors who might be potentially impacted by this commercial development, what might help the situation. So I'm going to introduce the concept briefly and then just touch on where we started and where we are today in terms of the site plan development. So I'm going to jump around, so forgive me. As you see here, Caliber Collision, paint and auto body repair. Driving up and down William Penn, as I've done multiple times since I've come to this community, there are several paint and auto body repair facilities already in your community. I took note of how they have built their facilities, what they're doing to implement, what their operation might include to screen some of the cars that are being stored on the property. I noticed most were closed by dusk this evening, and we sort of follow the same thing. But Caliber Collision has over 1,700 locations across the United States. This is not a mom and pop operation, as evidenced by the state-of-the-art equipment that we use for the painting that will meet all of the environmental standards. The building that we presented is the front elevation is a masonry and stone elevation. And I think what's most important, especially to the residents here and again in driving through your community, is the operational hours. We're Monday through Friday, pretty much closed by the time the sun goes down. We're dark on the weekends. There's no service on those days. The other important thing that I think is an interesting item of note specific to Caliber is that, and if you've ever been in an accident and have used a Caliber Collision, it's drop-off and pickup is by appointment only. It's not like a fuel station or a service station where you can drive in at your leisure. It is an appointment is made through your insurance company and the vehicle is dropped off. And it is estimated on average that 2 to 3 vehicles are dropped off or picked up during the day. So it's a very low impact business model. It's one of the commissioners, one of the planning commissioners asked, well, what about, cars that are brought in, on trucks, everything? Yes, but those are still brought in by appointment only. So again, I want to emphasize that this is a very orderly operation. And so with that, I would like to move to the site plan. And I'm doing it on my computer, but not on the screen, forgive me. The site plan that you see in front of you, again, meets the intent of the ordinance for parking, for setbacks from residential property lines, setbacks from the right-of-way. The building is central to the site plan. The stormwater pond, which I'm sure we'll get into later, is at the rear of the property. You'll see the access from from William Penn is a right-in, right-out. We are currently in for review with DOT. In fact, we've received our first round of comments and are addressing those as we speak. We did not have to do a traffic impact study or traffic impact analysis as per the direction from DOT. Our traffic engineer did provide a statement with an assessment of the number of trips based on the ITE manual, and the comments that we've gotten to date from DOT are still in line with this recommendation, a right in, right out, no public improvements, no decel lane or anything of that nature, given the classification and the speed limit along this highway, which is 45 miles an hour, and in my experience, it is fast. There's a lot of traffic on that highway. But again, we are in for DOT. We are complying with their standards. This is our site plan that we have to date. The next item I want to touch on really is the landscape plan. The landscape plan started off, again, using the ordinance as a guide. We provided or presented landscaping that met that standard. And in the meetings with the residents, it was evident that additional landscaping, especially on that western property line, and if I had a pointer, I'd show you, but on the page south, as you can see, there is an extension of, is there? Oh, it does? Which one? Oh, that one? Okay, great. Okay, very good. Well, and you all are intelligent enough to know the bottom of the page. So when we started, we had roughly half of these plantings, and the plantings started here at the front of the site and ended probably right about here. And the request was that we extend this all the way down, which we've done. And also the species that was originally noted was identified as a deer-loving, or a type of plant that the deer would invariably eat almost instantaneously. So what we have proposed are these green giants. They would be 6 feet at planting. So again, a little bit taller than what we had originally specified. We have spaced them per their standard specification so that they will grow and fill in, and they get roughly 25 to 30 feet? 25 to 30 feet in height. So these things are big, and Jim did research and confirmed that these are the species that are deer resistant. So we did that. The trees and shrubbery, you can see here, there's when I go back to the other plant, the fence that will screen the car. This is the car storage area. So starting right here, there is a gate that closes off, and all car storage is behind that gate. No cars will be stored in this front area. This is for employee parking. This is for customer parking, pickup and drop off, and everything is stored behind this gate. There is an 8-foot tall opaque fence. Again, we had originally proposed a 6-foot tall fence. The resident said, Jim had said, let's do a little bit better than that. So we came in with an 8-foot tall fence, planted additional trees along here and shrubs, again, in an effort to enhance the screening and visibility of what the residents will see in this area. All right, with that, let me jump back. The other concern, actually I'm gonna stay here. The other concern from the original application identified sorry, is it not on this one? Is it on the utility plan? The swale? Or maybe I just can't see that far. Yes, okay. Okay, so just between this landscape hedge now and the parking area, you'll see a swale that runs here along and the west, this part of the property line. Originally, this swale was truly abutted against this western property line. And the concerns with the residents were, okay, well, when we create this swale, it's going to disturb our property. We don't want it that close to our property line. We heard that. We went back to the drawing board and said, okay, let's get this off the property line. Let's put it up here, behind the landscape area, again, out of sight for the residents. And, we were able to still make the design work. So that was another accommodation that we accounted for during the Planning Commission sessions. And then lastly, I want to touch on the utility plan. Originally, the utility plan had the sanitary line coming out of the building here and running a lateral, and I want to be clear, a lateral to an existing sewer main that runs along the residential property lines and then turns and follows this natural stream down here. Again, in working with FTMSA, the request was that, one, we get it off, again, the western property line, and two, FTMSA requested that we install a 8-inch main extension that would benefit not only us, but whomever comes in and develops this residual parcel to the page north here. So we, working with FTMSA, worked through the design here. We've got an 8-inch main extension that we will build in this area here, a new manhole that we will install here, and all of this will be deeded or in an easement and given to FTMSA. We are running our 6-inch lateral on this side so it will straddle the businesses and not be down here closer to the residences, and will terminate here into our building. Those are just the site elements that we sort of have worked through. With regard to the building, I want to touch on two things. Sorry, I know I'm going long. There's no time limit, is there? This rendering is, as you would see, the building from Highway 22.
Same side.
One of the commissioners had a concern that this this channel letter sign which would face the residences would cause a glare or an issue in the evening. And so one of the conditions is that we only have signage on this side of the building or on the other side of the building, and we indicated we were more than willing to comply with that. Another concern that one of the residences had as it relates to some of your other auto body repair businesses in the community was regarding the freestanding signage, and they expressed their disinterest in having a pole sign, an illuminated pole sign, right in their backyard. So we are going to do a more subtle monument-style sign that will be along on Route 22. You can see it on the site plan. It looks like a little rectangle. Again, we feel that's less, intrusive. And at the last meeting, there was a concern regarding the building lighting. Again, I drove through town. I've been coming into town sort of more mid-afternoon, and this time I was able to drive up and down William Penn Highway and see what other businesses have in terms of building lighting. And I do understand the residents' concern with, I'm sitting on my back deck and I'm going to look out and we're just going to see these glaring lights. I mean, the church at the end, just past our site, the Christian church there, they do have these wall pack lights that are just, when you're driving up the highway, they're glaring. I get it. We as a standard on the Caliber building have this cutoff shield lighting, and these are installed over the garage doors. On the west elevation where most of the residences are, these will be installed over 3 garage doors. If you can, I know the literature is kind of small here, but I want to demonstrate that this is a full cutoff fixture. I did go back and confirm this is something that can not only be put on a timer, it can be dimmed to whatever level we need it to be dimmed to. It is a photocell light, so again, it's triggered by the sun going down or the sun coming up. It can be put on a timer such that it goes off in the evening, to a certain time of the evening. So it's something that I feel like is very workable. And I understand, that nobody wants to look out and, you'd rather see the trees and the animals and the stars. This is as unobtrusive as we can get, and still have a level of protection for the vehicles that are being parked in the lot. That was really my takeaway from the last meeting, that there still seemed to be this outstanding concern regarding this building light. Again, these are the only 3 lights on the west elevation. The majority of the lighting is on the page north side. Let me go back. There's a photometric in here. You can see that here are the 3 little lights here that I just identified. The rest of the lighting is on the other side of the building facing this empty lot. There are 2 back here. Again, same type of light. And again, I just want to identify that the lighting level at the property line is 0-foot candles, again, adhering to the standard in the ordinance. And with that, I will take any questions you might have. Look forward to working with you on this. We've been, again, waiting for this moment for a long time, and we've enjoyed working with Jim, and feel like we really took to heart Planning Commission's comments in an effort to make this a better situation for the residents that surround this business-zoned property. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
I would like to say that for the benefit, I think, of the balance of the council, I was on the Planning Commission liaison, and I know there was a considerable interest and, I guess, dismay, if you will, by the citizens in Manordale Farms. One thing I'd say, in that they're not here now, that tells me that there's been some cooperation with Caliber and those residents. I do know also the thought was that when you're on Route 22, the 8.3 acres, which are going to be subdivided, one question came up, well, why have you selected the one right next to the residences? Why not the one further east? And I can see that as a two-edged sword. Like, let's say you did go for the one that's further east. Who's to say what will come into that other parcel? Okay. But what was your answer to that when they raised that question? Why not take the parcel further away from us?
And my civil engineer is here as well. I have not, getting onto the property is a feat in of itself. The grade changes, if you let me flip back. Well, if you look at the grading plan or the landscape plan, you can see the grade differential from where our property sits. Thank you so much. As it goes to that, thank you.
You should have a.
There we go. Perfect. Okay. This is sort of the high point, if you will, of the overall property, sort of like the flattest part of this piece of property. Just the exercise that we went through to get the grading on this to make the stormwater pond work was a feat in and of itself. It's just the more optimal portion of this land for development. Whomever develops that residual piece is probably going to have a lot of, a lot more, earthwork. Again, the utilities are a challenge. The utilities were a challenge on this as well. We're extending a water main, actually. There's no water between where our property starts and sort of all the way down to the other end of the total acre or the total parcel itself. So we're spending, we're putting in the manpower, human power, and the dollars to extend the main per the request of the Water Authority as well. So it's just, this was all, the stars aligned for this one in terms of utilities and grades.
Okay. Makes sense to me, council.
And you're going to subdivide it, or you only took that portion that you guys are going to use?
Correct. So I want to be clear. So I work with Victory Development. We are purchasing, we will develop the site for Caliber. We are only purchasing this particular portion of the overall parcel. Yes,
So the other open parcels are not owned by you guys?
Yes, sir. Correct.
I was curious, though. You mentioned it was a boutique operation.
Yes, sir.
You have 1,700 stores.
Caliber Collision Corporate does. We're just a developer. We're a preferred developer for Caliber. They have many, many other development companies that do what we do, where they acquire the land, develop the site, build the building, and turn over the keys. I wish we did all of them.
I know you had said that it was very low turnover in cars per day. Were any of the residents, especially the ones that live adjacent to your parcel, concerned about noise at all? Because I know a lot of the residents in this development have been here about the noise on 22.
Sure.
I just wasn't sure. I know it looks like obviously you do the work in an enclosed garage.
Yes, that's correct.
Are the garage doors ever opened when any of that work is done? And if so, is any of the equipment loud enough to disturb the neighbors?
So, yes, the garage doors are open. You have fairly mild weather. In Texas, we would keep them closed and have the AC on. They will be open during business hours. When it's cold, they'll be closed. It'll be temperature controlled. We did have a separate noise study done. We did commission that as well. And the decibel levels for the noise that are estimated to be produced by this development were below, and I'm sorry I don't have it with me, but I can have it for the next meeting, below the standard for business in this area. So that's taking into account the traffic noise and everything else like that, and I can send that. I think you might have a copy of it, but I can send it to Jim to share with you. But we did do that noise study to show that we are below the decibel requirements for a business use. Again, the business does close at 5:30. We don't work on weekends. We don't work at night. I would hope that during those normal business hours, the noise would be kept at reasonable levels that you would expect for this type of operation.
Was that noise study done with the doors open or closed?
That is a good question. I don't know the answer to it, but I can get it for our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other Caliber facilities here in the Pittsburgh area?
Oh, yes, and I can send you a list as well.
Okay.
And I something that came up during the last meeting with the Planning Commission members was, I want to be clear that this is a brand new, out of the ground facility. When I looked up some of the other Caliber collisions in your Metroplex to see, what we might have something to guide you to go look at, or they're all different. Some of them are brownfields. We say brownfields, redevelopment of an older building. So they all are very different. But I will certainly provide that to you, a list, and there are some in the area you can go look at for sure.
Just thank you for the presentation.
Yes.
Just a question.
Yes.
From your point of view, a developer's point of view, why Murraysville? What top 10 things do you look for in a location for this type of business? Because of course there's lots of land around here.
That would be a great question for my real estate, my VP of real estate. I would say demographic. I would say, household. Where are we pulling our future employees from? Something that I think is notable of Caliber is, they the people that are employed there, the jobs are very, high-paying salaries. They look for businesses that will complement the Caliber operation. For example, a tire shop, another service station, somewhere where they will pull and share and sort of not barter services, but will work cohesively with other businesses in town. I've never seen one. Part of what I do is I research the zoning and the fees and the process and the timing, and this Murraysville, there has very high standards for your development. And, I think that's something that we like to see. We want to present a nice building. I think Caliber has a very attractive building. I'm not doing a very good job of answering your question, but overall, I think it is about what is in the community in terms of the businesses, where are we going to be pulling people from for jobs. Of course, land cost is a part of that. That's the obvious. If there's something else more magical that is a factor in this, I will certainly get that, and I will have that for you at our next meeting.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So just to clarify, are you saying it's part of Caliber's business model to shop local?
To shop local, absolutely. Right. Parts, specifically parts. I mean, I think this is a very, Pittsburgh and the surrounding area is a very industrial area, and I think that is one of the key drivers in coming up. I mean, I'm working on another project that's, a couple hours away, and it's similar in nature, style. The community is the same, similar. So it's just, that's absolutely a component of the business model, yes.
Thank you for your presentation. Quick question, from the beginning of the project to the end, roughly how long do you think it will take?
To build it?
Yeah.
210 days. Yes. And again, we are a boutique developer. My VP of construction, who you wouldn't imagine would go out to a job site, I've never seen a VP go out to a job site and operate as much like a site superintendent as much as my VP of construction. I know that in talking to one of the residents that backs up to the property on the west side, he wanted to know, who can I contact, during construction if I have a problem. I said, you can contact me, you can contact our VP, you can contact our SVP. That's how small it is. You're not going to get project manager Joe Smith. You're going to get senior vice president of construction development. We are very present and involved in the construction process. It is my VP of construction is adamant that he turn it over in 210 days, rain or shine.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is the construction the subcontractors that do that, or do they hire local? Or you bring them in?
Oh gosh, yes. We have talked to a couple already. I mean, months ago, especially again talking about that grading work and dirt work that needs to happen on the site. We've actually talked to several local subcontractors already. A company called the Dirt Guy, but Mr. Dirt. But absolutely working to get more local, and we've actually had people reach out to us, which is great.
Okay. Any final questions or concerns from council? Okay, awesome. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you all so much. Be safe.
Thank you. Okay, that will conclude our workshop items this evening. We do have 2 action items under administration. Can I have a motion for 13A, please?
Motion to authorize staff to advertise ordinance 1084-24 specifying the rate of pension contributions with respect to the police pension plan for the 2023 calendar year?
Second motion.
Hold on. So the motion was for
2024?
Correct.
Okay, and then Carl, you seconded it?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll just make sure it says 2024. There was a second, and Michael, this is just clerical. We have to do this for the CPI, right?
That's correct, yes. Under the CBA, this is the rate of contribution, so it's administrative in nature.
Questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. That brings us to 13B. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to authorize, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Motion to authorize staff to advertise the rescheduling of a regular public meeting of Murraysville Council from May 14th, 2024 to May 21st, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Second.
Jamie and Jason, I mean, self-explanatory, but
It is. Just to clarify, there is a planning commission meeting that same evening, so we recognize the schedule conflict. We were going to wait to see how that played out, whether there was going to be a planning meeting. However, we also recognize that May being the only month that starts on a Wednesday, by moving this to May 21st, it allows us to move the meeting to the third Tuesday. All the other remaining months of the year, the meeting is on the third Tuesday. So all the discussion we had in the past about the Tuesday following the second Wednesday or the Tuesday prior to the third Wednesday can now go out the window. And by making this modification, we avoid the scheduling conflict. We can now easily say to our residents that our meetings are the first Wednesday and the third Tuesday of the month for the rest of the year. So simplification and solving a problem at the same time.
awesome.
Is that the 21st, which is after the 20th?
But before the 22nd.
Okay, questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Do we have any old business from anyone this evening?
Just as a question, this was in our, the fleet card program. If you're familiar with it, Michael, did Public Works take a look at this too?
I'm not 100% sure. Was that posted in your, or placed in your mailbox?
Yeah.
I'm
Not mine and everybody's.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure who put that in there, but I can find out and learn more about what it is. I haven't seen that.
It's the state of, it looks like it's the state of Pennsylvania. If you're part of this program, you pay less for your fuel. And I'm presuming we do something like that.
Sorry.
It's part of the state co-op program. We've participated in that for a number of years. They were just sending out advertisements.
Okay. One other old business is just to whoever's listening and the small audience that we have, Republic Services offers a 10% discount to seniors over the age of 62. And I think it'd be, I'll mention this to Dane and the council, it'd be good if we pass something to the Penn Franklin, to put that in the, just a short little blurb saying, here's a 10%. It's not a lot of money, but, you know.
Every little bit helps, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, let's get someone on the agenda. Let's
And the phone number is 724-887-9400 for Republic Services.
Sounds like a plan. Any other old or new business this evening? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
Make a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.